my son told me about 2 years ago he'd like to be a YouTuber. And I said, well, that's not a job. And then he said, well, look at these guys making millions of money.
It's not always going to be a job anymore. It's more about work, and sometimes it's a portfolio of different roles. We found that the impetus for getting an education did change over time. So following a cycle that began with education representing a way out of poverty, then almost a blank canvas of opportunity. The generations that worked within the formal economy are still around, and they are heavily influencing the way young people formulate their perceptions. The way out of poverty in the past was a formal long-term job, especially in government. So when we see a reluctance to go into a field that's relatively new, or to start a business in an environment that is still perceived to be volatile, it's understandable.
From Kasim, for example, who would sort of say things like, yes, I remember when my grandfather told me he walked from Kasim to Riyadh to find work, or walked from Kasim to Kuwait.
So those patterns of how people traveled and came back and what they were doing really in early days of establishing the kingdom is something we don't talk about enough. Unemployment amongst young people still is quite high, which means there is a need to take on more of this risk in order to really stimulate the small and medium business space. This is a very subjective thing, what makes a good job and what makes a bad job. An opportunity to grow, an opportunity to learn more, an opportunity to maybe then move on to something different because people aren't really looking for jobs for life anymore. These are things that I think employers can take on board. I think there are so many things